Dear students, in the present lecture, we are going to discuss concept of GST, features of GST. So, we know that goods and services tax is an indirect tax. It can be shifted or transferred, but it is necessary to remember that it is destination based tax. It is regressive in nature. So now we are focusing concept of goods and services tax. In short, it is known as GST. Goods GST is a value added tax levied on manufacture, sale and consumption of goods and services. It means that GST is concerned with manufacture, sale and consumption. GST offers comprehensive and continuous chain of tax credits from producer's point or service provider's point up to the retailer's level, consumer's level, thereby taxing only the value added at each stage of supply chain. Thus, only the final consumer bears the GST. That is very important. Only the final consumer bears the GST charged by last supplier in the supply chain. In the supply chain, final consumer bears GST charged by the last supplier. With setup benefits at all the previous stages, GST does not differentiate between goods and services. According to GST, goods and services are considered as the same for the purpose of rate of tax. The two are taxed at a single rate. Goods and services for the purpose of GST are divided into 5 different tax slabs. There are 5 tax slabs of GST. First slab carries 0%, second carries 5%, third one 12%, fourth one 18% and last 28%. It means that the highest slab of GST is 28% and the lowest slab of GST is 0%. But it is noted that petroleum products, alcohol, alcoholic drinks, electricity are not taxed under GST. They are separately taxed by the state governments. There is a special rate, not 0.25% on rough, precious and semi-precious stones and 3% on gold. In addition, a cess of 20% or other rates on top of 28% GST applies on few items like aerated drinks, luxury cars and tobacco products. In addition, it is noted that petroleum products, alcoholic drinks and electricity are not coming under GST. They are taxed. They are separately taxed by the central government. Sorry, they are separately taxed by state governments. But there is a special rate. There is a special rate, not 0.20% on rough, precious and semi-precious stones. 3% separate rate, 3% on gold. In addition, a cess of 22% of or other rates on the top of 28%. Cess is also applied on 28% at the rate of 22%. Like irritated drinks, luxury cars and tobacco products. Following are the features of GST. That is very important. GST is an indirect tax. It can be shifted. It is not directly charged. It is charged when a goods used by final consumer or service taken by the final consumer. GST is a value added tax levy on sale of goods or services or both. GST is levied on goods, GST is levied on services, or GST is levied on both. GST is a destination based consumption tax. It means that GST bears last consumer. GST offers comprehensive and continuous chain of tax credit. Tax credit is available in GST. GST where burden borne by the final consumer. The burden of GST is generally borne by the final consumer. GST has eliminated many existing indirect taxes at state and central level. Because of GST, many central and state governments taxes have been lapsed. GST eliminate cascading effect of tax. GST brings uniform tax structure all over India. GST brings uniform tax structure all over India. Presently, this structure is counted as slab, 0% slab, 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%. GST is regressive in nature. GST has a wider tax base, that is very important. GST has wider tax base. Now we are going to discuss why GST was introduced in India, or what is the need of GST in India. Following are important points or reasons that focuses on the need of introduction of GST in India. Because of following points, the GST was introduced in India. The basic ideas of levying GST related to make border wider base of tax, that is regressive in nature. Following are the important points or reasons that focuses on the need of introduction of GST in India to get rid of problems with direct tax. There are certain problems regarding direct tax. Instead of that, GST get rid of problem with the direct taxes to reduce the number of indirect taxes and replace multiple indirect taxes. Hence, because of GST, it is possible to reduce number of taxes and multiple indirect taxes. To bring uniformity in previous tax rates, in order to bring uniformity in tax rates, GST was introduced in India. To eliminate complicities in administration of indirect taxes, to bring more transparency in taxation, to eliminate tax on tax, to increase tax revenue to the government, to ease interstate transactions, to ease transportation by eliminating several checkposts. In addition of the need of GST in India, we are also going to discuss certain points. Firstly, GST on supply. GST is levied on supply of goods or services or both in India. It is applicable with effect from 1st July 2017. Area up to 200 nautical miles inside sea is India for the purpose of levy of GST. Here supply means supply of goods and services. GST came into force from 1st July 2017. Area of this GST is 200 nautical miles inside a sea. Dual GST. GST introduced in India as a dual GST, म्हणजे भारतामध्ये द्विस्तरीय GST आकारला जातो. म्हणजे दोन स्तरावर आकारला जातो. एक सेंट्रल गव्हर्नमेंट आणि दुसरं स्टेट गव्हर्नमेंट किंवा युनियन टेरिटोरी. The central government and state government will levy GST simultaneously on a common base, that is supply of goods or services or both. Intra-state supply. In case of intra-state supply, that is supply with a state or union territory, CGST, that is central government, that is central goods and services tax, will be payable to the central government. SGST or UTGST is payable to the state government or union territory. Area of 12 nautical miles inside sea is part of sea or union territory which is nearest. Inter interstate supply. Supply from one state or union territory to another state or union territory is interstate supply. In the case of interstate supply, IGST is payable to central government. IGST is also applicable if supply of beyond 12 nautical miles but up to 200 nautical miles. Interstate supply, that is imposed by central government and on which CGST and IGST is applicable. Distinction between goods and services, that is very important. What is the difference between goods and services? In case of goods and services, distinction has been made in few cases. The distinction is relevant to a certain place of supply, time of supply, valuation and composition scheme, that is, or alternative composition scheme. There are some supplies which are neither goods nor services. While considering difference between goods and services, some differential points are taken into consideration like place of supply, time of supply, valuation and composition scheme. But it is noted that there are some supplies which are neither goods or services. For example, which are neither goods nor services. For example, service provided by employer to the employer in the course of employment is neither treated as supply of goods nor services. These cases are specified in Schedule 3. So, service provided by the employee to employer is neither supply of goods nor supply of services. GST Council, Goods and Services Tax Council. This is a separate council for fixing policies regarding GST. Article 279A of the Constitution empowers the President to constitute a joint forum of the central and states, namely Goods and Services Tax Council. GST Council is constituted by the President of India. The provisions relating to GST Council came into force on 12th September 2016. President constituted the GST in India on 15th September 2016. It means that GST Council came into force with effect from 12th September 2016, and legally President constituted the GST Council on 15th September 2016. GST Council is apex constitutional body, that is very important. It is apex body. GST is apex body. It was constituted by virtue of Article 279A of the Constitution. It is a joint forum of central and states and consists of the following members. The following members are coming under GST Council. Union Finance Minister is the chairperson of GST Council. Union Minister of State in charge of Revenue Finance. He is working in the capacity of member. Minister in charge of Finance or Taxation or any other minister nominated by each state government and union territories legislators that are members. So this is the structure of GST Council. Union Finance Minister is working as chairperson. Union Minister of State in charge of Revenue Finance is working as member. Minister in charge of Finance or Taxation or any other minister nominated by the state governments and union territories that are members. It means that GST is an apex constitutional body. In that body, Finance Minister of India is working as chairperson. Union State Minister of Revenue Finance is working as member. Finance or Taxation Minister of the states or other ministers nominated by state or union territories are working as members. As per the Article 279A Clause 4, the GST Council will make recommendations to the Union and states on the matter of governing the following: the taxes, cesses and surcharges levied by Union, the states and the local bodies which may be subsumed in GST. Previously, there are certain taxes, cesses and surcharges levied by the state governments and local bodies. They are subsumed in GST. The goods and services that may be subjected to or exempted from GST. No tax is levied on goods and services that are exempted from GST. The threshold limit of turnover below which goods and services may be exempted from GST. The rate including floor rates with bands of GST. Any special rate or rates for a specific period to raise additional resources during any natural calamity or disaster. So GST Council make recommendations regarding certain issues of tax as related with goods and services. On the basis of the recommendations made by the GST Council, actions will be taken. Special provision with respect of states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. The GST Council has a right to make special provisions for specific states by considering its economic condition. The date on which GST be levied on petroleum, crude, high-speed diesel, motor spirit, commonly known as petrol, natural gas, and aviation turbine fuel. Presently, GST is not levied on petroleum products, so the date of that will decide GST Council. Any other matter relating to GST as the Council may decide. It means that general policy is determined by Council regarding goods and services tax. The following points should also be noted. While discharging the constitutional functions, the GST Council shall be guided by the need for harmonized structure of GST and for the development of harmonized national market for goods and services. One half of the total number of members of the GST Council shall constitute the quorum as its meeting. For fulfilling quorum of GST Council, one of members should be present. The GST Council shall determine the procedure in the performance of its function. Every decision of GST Council shall be taken at a meeting by majority of not less than two-thirds to not less than three-fourths of the weighted votes of the members present and voting in accordance with the following principles. The weightage of voting is given here. The vote of the central government shall have a weightage of the one-third of the total vote cast, and the votes of all the state governments taken together shall be weightage of two-thirds of the total vote cast in that meeting. It means that there is a difference in weightage by taken into consideration caste. So there are two ministers of the Union government are included in that council, and remaining members are from states and union territories. But the weightage given one-third of total votes cast to central government and two-third weightage is given to the votes of the state governments together collectively. The GST Council shall establish a mechanism to adjudicate any dispute between the Government of India and one or more states. GST has given power for establish mechanism regarding dispute between the Government of India and one or more states, or between the Government of India and any state or states on one side and one or more other states on other side or between two or more states arising out of the recommendations of the Council or implementation therefore. So in this lecture we focused the concept of GST, features of GST and GST Council. In this way I am concluding here my speech. Thank you.